Well, good morning, Facebook family. I'm sitting here and something's on my mind this morning to talk to you all about to help you through your weekend. Dealing with the power of the pet peeve. Do you have a pet peeve? What is your pet peeve? What is that thing that when people do it, you just can't shake it? It just grips hold of you and you can't let it go. I want to talk to you today about how the pet peeve can keep you from becoming all that God has predestined you to be, because of how you have framed things. In the first letter to the Corinthians, 1 Corinthians chapter 13, Paul gives us this long dissertation about what love is and what love is not. And he says love is patient, love is kind, love does not insist on its own way. He talks about love being faithful and always believing the best. He gives this long dissertation, and then in verse 11 he says, when I was a child, I thought as a child, I reasoned as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. Wow. And here we are as adults, many of us still holding on to the way we frame things and the way we viewed things when we were children, when things happened to us. And some legitimate things, some things happened that legitimately left some infiltration of toxins. I want you to remember that when those things happened to you, when you were violated, when you were rejected, when you were abandoned, when you were rejected, when you were told that you were going somewhere and then nobody showed up to take you and you were just left hanging. Those things did happen, and you had some feelings about them, but you framed those feelings from a child's perspective, and you can't afford to hold on to that child's perspective. You got to shake it. You got to let it go. So how do we do that? I see I got some viewers. I see Apostle Rita and my sister Linda Remsen. I see my sister Prophetess Darlene Stansel. Hey, y'all. So listen, pass the word about these pet peeves. We cannot continue to allow what has happened in the past to color the way we see things. Our spiritual filter is clouded. And when our spiritual, it's like the prism on a camera. When it is clouded, you can't see clearly what's going on. And so you were hurt as a child, and now as an adult, still looking through the child's lens. When somebody says they're going to do something and don't do it, it messes you up so bad. You know, you can't shake it. When they said they was coming to get me and take me to the grocery store at 10 o'clock yesterday, here it is 10 o'clock 2 days later, they still haven't come. Maybe they're in the hospital. Maybe they forgot. Maybe something came up and they just didn't have a chance to call you. Or maybe they didn't call because they have a problem confronting when they're not able to do things. But whatever it is, it does not frame who you are. And see what happens when we begin to filter things through how we felt as a child. What may have happened as a child is that you felt worthless. What may have happened as a child is that you felt jealous. What may have happened as a child is that you felt resentful, that you felt betrayed. And then when you filter what's happening today through that same mindset, then you have signs of an infected spirit. You have signs of an infected spirit indicated by jealousy. You can't stand to see nobody do better than you, indicated by resentments. You hold on to resentments. Those infections in your spirit, an infected spirit that causes you to be promiscuous and unable to be faithful in a relationship, that the infected spirit that causes you to feel hatred or impatience. But whatever it is, those infections in your spirit were infiltrated. They were infiltrated in your life as a result of what happened to you when you were a child. But the Apostle Paul says, when I was a child, I thought and I reasoned as a child, but when I became an adult, I put away childish things. I can no longer allow my spirit to be clouded and my vision to be distorted, my sight to be affected of how I see things by what I've been through. Because if I continue to do that, I will never reach God's best for me. I will never become who and what God says I am. I will never, ever have God's best for me me in my life because I will continue to allow the pains of my past to dictate my future. It's time to put an end to the pains of the past. And so when your pet peeve is activated, that's the activating event. When your pet peeve is activated, that means that thing has lied. It has been lying dormant. But there's a stronghold. A stronghold is a wall or fortress of thought. A stronghold is when you have built up this wall or this fortress, this thought pattern, but it seems to lie dormant sometimes. So you think you've gotten over it. You don't think you still have a stronghold. And then somebody comes along to activate that pet peeve. They push that button, they activate it, and A causes C. At least that's what you would like to believe. You would like to believe that your consequential response to that activating event, when they activate your pet peeve, you would like to believe that your consequential response is all because of what they did. But let me tell you something. It's not all because of what they did. It's how you framed it. It's what you believe to be true about yourself when these things happen that cause you to react the way you do. If A caused C, if what they did caused you to respond, and it was the consequence of, if your response was the consequence of their activating the pet peeve, then you'd be a puppet for the rest of your life. I choose not to be a puppet. I choose not to be moved by the actions of others. My future will not be dictated by what other people say and do or don't say and do. I will not allow people to determine my future. Only God has that authority in your life. But you've got to disarm the power of your past. So you've got to quit looking at what people do and look at what you think and what you believe is true about yourself. Do you believe you're worthless because people don't show your worth? Your worth has nothing to do with what people say or do for you or don't say or do for you or about you. Your worth has everything to do with who God is and the fact that He found you worthy, that He died for you, that He brought you out of eternity into time for such a time as this. You have purpose, and what people do or don't do does not shape your future. And so we have to disarm the power of the past. And I just want to leave you with that today, that those infections that have infiltrated your spirit as a result of what people did to you in your past have no right or authority to remain, because Jesus Christ is the only one with the right and the authority to dictate what happens to you. So you disarm the power of the past, and you deal with the fact that regardless of why they did what they did, it had nothing to do with your worth. It had nothing to do with you personally. It had to do with who they are and their circumstances. I want to share this story with you. I was born to my mother and father when they were 15 and 16 years old. My father was my uncle's best friend and hung out at my grandmother's house and played with him and the rest of the boys, and ultimately played with the little sister and got the little sister, my mama, pregnant. And so for 34 years, from the time I was born up until I was in recovery from a crack cocaine addiction and had spent my whole life looking for love in all the wrong places, looking for somebody to want me, looking for somebody to need me, to accept me, so that I could say to myself, I'm worth something. So I could say to myself, I'm worth something. And ultimately found, only to find out when I asked my daddy, why you never came to see about me? He said, because your grandma kicked me out the house and told me I was banned from the house and I couldn't come back because I got her baby pregnant. Oh my goodness, what a thing to find out. That it wasn't because he didn't want me. It was because he couldn't get to me. And then life showed up on him and he got caught up in his own things that he was struggling with. And he got sidetracked. But it wasn't because I wasn't worth it. And I want to say that to you today. It's not because you're not worth it that people don't treat you right. It's because of what's going on in their own lives and because of their own challenges and their own struggles. But your worth is found in God. God bless you. You have a wonderful weekend, and I will be back with you Monday morning from our broadcast. We have a broadcast now from Chicago on 1570 Harvey, and you can actually stream us live. It's 9 to 9:30, and And so I'm going to get out of here. I got to get on with my day. I hope you all have a blessed day. I see you, Lane, my sweet niece, Toya. Oh, my goodness. Thank you all so much for viewing the video. And I love you. Take care.